has to be crisp, has to be sharp, or you're going to lose the close games.
Sunday comes, there's a game. Your preparation will yield a result, and you'll know the outcome.
The difference in these guys is like maybe 2, 3, 4% on these guys at the top level. But that 2, 3, 4% is the difference between barely making the playoffs, losing the first round, and continuously going and making runs in the playoffs. But I didn't watch the NFL. Like I wasn't ever like, I'm going to be in the NFL one day. And my coach comes to me and is like, hey, like I think you have an opportunity to go play in the NFL. Like some coaches, some scouts are calling and asking about you. And it was like a whole like, whoa, to me, it was like, that's not anything I ever like dreamed about doing.
You actually rode bulls a couple times.
Yeah, so my bull riding career is 3 bulls. That was the extent of that, and I was terrible at it and terrified at the same time, so that was short-lived. I learned how to work hard with the opportunities that I had when I was in that environment, being in the ranch. You learn to do a lot with a little when you're working in the ranch life. You have to do something to separate yourself, and it's not that it has to be leaps and bounds, but I'm talking if it's 5%, you're 5% better than this person. Yeah, they're pretty similar, these two candidates, but this person has just that little bit more. Let's go with that person.
Welcome to the show, Austin.
I am here. I made it. It was a trip, but looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. It's been on our list to do pretty much since beginning of last season, or right before last season started.
Yeah.
We had to wait for your season to end. I'm sorry it didn't go as far as we were hoping.
You know, I've come to know as a football player, and it's really interesting actually because there's only one team that ever wins the Super Bowl. And obviously that's our entire goal the entire year. But it makes me wonder as I reminisce and you get out of the season, like, is it a win and lose, and that's determines whether you had a successful season or not, or are there other metrics that play into it? You know, and I think it comes down to an individual perspective. You know, was this a successful season for me or for the team, even though we didn't win the Super Bowl? Which, if you go by the metrics of Super Bowl or not, there's only one team that ever had a successful season every year. So. I don't know. I feel like I find, you know, even in the adversity that we went through, find different wins to continue to help me move forward. You know I learned a lot from this year, even though our wins weren't in the places where I want. Even my production wasn't where I thought it was going to be coming into and what I thought I prepared for. But the things that I did learn from, like I learned about my leadership. I learned a bunch of different things from this season going through it. And, you know, I consider that a win in some type of capacity, even though it was a tough one. But
I mean, I think there's a lot of absolute nuggets in what you just said, because the truth is we learn more from adversity than we traditionally do when success happens, because you don't dwell on success, right? Success happens and you're cheering, you're happy, you're exuberant, and you think you're amazing and the team's amazing or this company's amazing. But when you have those struggles and you do that self-reflection and assessment, you start to have all those learnings and those moments.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what happened. You know, kind of piggybacking off what you said, like when you're in a situation where things aren't going the way, or you're trying to figure it out, you're like, I'm thinking every single night, like I'm stressed out of my mind because we're in the season and we got to turn it around. Think, what can we do different? What am I not doing? Like, did I not prepare enough? And it's like I've checked all those boxes, and so it's like, man, is there something else that isn't there? And I think it was, for me, it was like, I needed to be a better leader. I think that would have helped. Like this, I was a leader, but in a wrong form. I think I was a leader in the way that I know how to lead, but not in the way that the team necessarily needed. I feel like I needed to be more of a stickiness type of leader. Let's bring guys together, because I'll get you going. I'll get you hyped, ready to run through that brick wall over there, you know, and I'm going to make sure that I'm keeping you accountable, and I'm going to make sure I'm talking at practice, things like that. But I think we needed a little bit more stickiness from our older guys and our captains this year. And so it's one thing that I've learned. I've actually been putting into my teams that I'm working with too off the field, just making sure that there's that camaraderie, and it's little small things. Like we just did our kickoff dinner out in Vegas, you know, in January, and we got everyone together. You know, we sat together, we broke bread together. We're going and doing these little events together. We're talking about just how our lives, how you feel like when do you feel the most authentic? Like questions that are like really get to know me as a person, how you know Austin feels like the best version of himself. And I thought that was really good. And I know our team has really enjoyed doing that and feels like they're a little bit more bought in, and like because they know me personally on a deeper level. It's hard to do that in sports, especially when we got 53 guys on the team, you know, but it's so imperative. And that's what I've learned the most, I think, from this past season that we had.
Well, I mean, that's a great way to start this episode.
Bang, look at that. Look at that.
I mean, I was going to go down some of that path with you, but I think it's amazing to me that you already have so much of this on your mind today.
Yeah.
I mean, you're 28.
28.
You know, so you're a seasoned veteran in the NFL, but you're still young in your life, and you're developing on and off the field. And the fact that you have the maturity and awareness and understanding of what you just said, I mean, I didn't learn half of that. I'm still learning some of that. Like, I'm learning right now.
Well, you know, in sports, it's instant results. You know, a lot of these things, I feel like as we go in, not in sports or in other industries, it takes a while for you to know that you're getting burned, you know, or you got to go down a path because you don't get these instant results right away where there's media talking about you, fans are talking about you, you see the stat lines, there's instant win and loss at the end of the game. And so that's one of the beauties in sports is you can get instant reflection. You can go back and watch the tape right away. In other instances outside of life, it might take a while for you to go down a path where you're locked in and you don't have a team around you that maybe has your best interest or whatever the situation is. But then you finally realize, okay, I got burned. It's going to take a while. Where did that start? Where did that start? And then with sports, it's instant. And so I can look at myself in the mirror and I can be like, okay, what could I have done better? Because I always try to bring it back on myself. What could I have done better to add a better type of progress, you know, effort into the results that we had. And it wasn't effort. It's like, it's not effort, but it's like, okay, where did I need to direct the effort? Where was I lacking? Or maybe I could have been better at. And that's what I think it was for me. Because if you look at our team that we had, like, we have the players, we have the talent. Like, the talent was not the issue for us, and there's more than talent. Like, you can have the best tools, but if you don't use them correctly and they're not working together in a synchronous way to go forward, it's gonna be janky, and it's not gonna be effortless. And at the level of football that we play, you have to be seamless, and it has to be crisp, has to be sharp, or you're gonna lose the close games. You might be a good team, but if you're gonna win the close games, we're just gonna put you into the playoffs. And if you want to make an actual run in the playoffs, you can't afford these little mistakes here and there that might be, you know, a accumulation of 1,000 cuts of different things that you could have built during the training camp, during OTAs that lead up into how your team operates going into the actual season.
And I think you just nailed it. I mean, that's why I love bringing athletes, current and former professional athletes, onto the show, because for our audience, which is a lot of the entrepreneurship community, you're right. We don't have the immediate results, the immediate gratification or failures with our decision-making, our process, our approach, where in sports you do. Yeah. You work all offseason, Sunday comes, there's a game.
Right.
Your preparation will yield a result and you'll know the outcome. And sometimes you do everything you can and you lose. And you also have to learn how to accept that and figure out what you're going to do to get over the mountain next time. Right. And so that perspective is so valuable to all of us who are out here in the business community, which you also are, and we'll get down there in a minute, because you have that immediacy. So as you're going through that, did I prepare? Did I give all my effort? What can we do better as a team? As you said, those close games, those moments. You also have the challenge where, unlike a company, you're one piece of a 53-man roster with all the coaches, all the decisions. Sometimes anyone doesn't do their job can make you look good or bad.
Right.
And even if it's not your credit, you're going to get it when the other guys pick you up or vice versa. Yep. And it's an individual career for you and all the guys on a team sport, and the team results dictate your individual.
Yeah, absolutely. And it relates so well to the business world. In the sense of this is when you put your individual effort into something. Let's just take an individual, for instance, and this concept applies to the bigger organization as well. But there's people that are probably competing for that same spot that you have right there. And if you earn the spot or you're, you know, trying to apply for that spot, you have to do something to separate yourself. And it's not that has to be leaps and bounds, but I'm talking if it's 5%, you're 5% better than this person. Yeah, they're pretty similar, these two candidates, but this person has just that little bit more. Let's go with that person, right? It wasn't that you were this huge, like over the top, like, oh, this guy's the best and maybe separate himself by a mile, but you got to separate yourself by a little bit. And those little wins will continue to separate yourself. And the fact that it's little, maybe it was that, you know, you had your shirt buttoned up straight and you walked in and shook her hand right away. Like that's something that simple that separated you. And so all these little details matter so much because it's the little things that continue to add up to getting you actually to the door, to the next thing. And then if you look at the organization, let's say you have two competing companies where they do the same exact thing, but this let's say a SaaS company, right? Where this one has these features, this one also has these features, but it has this little extra feature that I like too. They're the same type of company, but this one's like 10%, 15% better. Everyone's going to funnel into that one, and this one's going to be elevated on the highest level. Same thing in football, same thing in business, where these, like, especially these quarterbacks nowadays. I got asked the other day, like, what's the difference with these? It's the difference in these guys is like maybe 2, 3, 4% on these guys at the top level. But that 2, 3, 4% is the difference between barely making the playoffs, losing the first round, and continuously going and making runs in the playoffs. It's really that small. And so you got to take these details seriously, and they matter. Trust me, it matters, because it's a death by 1,000 cuts if you don't think it matters.
Or it's a win by 1,000 win stacks.
Win, exactly. Or it's the on the other side,
and
yes.
What I love about your story is you're the epitome of that, because you didn't go to a powerhouse college where you were known all around the country before you became a pro. You didn't even get drafted.
Nope.
You had to walk on to an NFL football team. You're 5'8".
This is
average
my body.
height.
This is my body. Should I now stand up? You guys, get a look at me. Get a look at me. Like, I'm not a huge guy, but as you just said, it was win by 1,000 wins, stacking up wins, and it was small. And just going back into even my story, you know, I went to a Division II school, which no one had ever gone to the NFL before me at that school. So I had never seen an NFL scout on campus. Like, these people are foreign to me. I don't know. What do you mean NFL scout? I ain't coming here. I'm going to the business world. That's where I'm going to start. I'm going to use my education to get my opportunity. All of a sudden, scouts start showing up on campus. Whoa. New opportunity appeared for me. And for me, it was a whole mental shift where I was really dedicated to going and working in the energy field. I was going to start house hacking. I was going to start getting into real estate, start flipping houses, build a real estate empire. That was my plan. And a new opportunity called the NFL comes, and I'm like, okay, I love that plan. I can always do that plan no matter what I'm doing in life. Like, that will always be there. Football, I can only play while I'm young, and I have this short window and opportunity to go take advantage of it. So my entire mental shift went to, I'm going to try to maximize my efforts into putting it into things that can help me go play in the NFL.
What year of college was that shift?
That was after my junior year.
So 3 years in.
So I went
21.
Yeah, I was 20 years. I was young. I was 20 years old after my junior year. And my coach comes to me and is like, hey, like, I think you have an opportunity to go play in the NFL. Like, some coaches, some scouts are calling and asking about you. And it was like a whole, like, whoa, to me, it was like, that's not anything I ever like dreamed about doing. I grew up on a ranch. I was building fence, riding bulls, riding horses. You know, I played sports. That was like my getaway from the ranch life, which I didn't enjoy, but I actually learned how to work in that, and I learned discipline, and I learned all these different transferable skills.
You actually rode bulls a couple of times.
Yeah, so my bull riding career is 3 bulls. That was the extent of that, and I was terrible at it and terrified at the same time, so that was short-lived.
Did you ever make 8 seconds?
I never made 8 seconds.
Okay.
So that was why 3 bulls and I was out. Well, it's 2 bulls and a steer if you're really technical out there.
2 bulls and a steer.
And
and soccer?
World.
I know you played a lot of soccer.
I played a little soccer growing up. I played soccer, wrestled, basketball, baseball, football, ran track. So my mom was in the traditional sports side, and then her husband, ex-husband now, was in the ranch life. And so we collided, and I kind of got the best of both worlds, hunting, fishing. You know, I grew up watching Ty Murray and Chris Shivers, or professional bull riders.
I don't know who they are.
You don't know who they are, probably. It's a rodeo thing. It's a bull riding thing. So I grew up in the untraditional sports, but then also played all the traditional. But I didn't watch the NFL. Like, I wasn't ever like, I'm going to be in the NFL one day, you know. But for me, I learned how to work hard with the opportunities that I had when I was in that environment, being in the ranch. You learn to do a lot with a little when you're working in the ranch life. And my mom was a school teacher, and like I said, her husband built barbed wire fence. And so during summers, I'd be building barbed wire fence, or I'd be at camps with football, basketball, and that would be like my getaway. So I loved going to camps because we don't have to be out in the camper on the site building 9 miles of fence for the railroad to keep the cows off the tracks. So sports became, really popular in my opinion. But
when your mom played college sports,
yeah, she played basketball in college.
She had the nickname the Animal.
She did have I did some digging. Okay,
which is similar to someone else's nickname.
Yes, my mom was called the Animal. She was mean. She actually she gave me a bloody lip one time. She was my coach in college, or not in college, but in high school. You play the basketball in the summer league. So she would coach, and she was showing this post move, and she'd boom right in the face, and she thought it was hilarious. But yeah, she's mean. She's mean. She's still kind of mean.
But you inherited the same nickname.
The Animal. No one's ever called me the Animal.
You didn't. Sorry, I thought you had that in college.
No, people actually. It's funny. People called me Franchise in college.
Okay.
They were like, "Oh, you're the franchise player."
That's a cooler one.
Yeah,
I'd rather be the franchise. You could be the animal. I'll be the franchise.
That was what I got. Choose your nicknames. That was what they gave me, and that was so my freshman year in college. I went up there, and this team was terrible, but it was the only team that offered me to play running back. I wanted to play running back. That's what I'd done my entire life, and so I wanted to dedicate myself to doing that.
But why football? If football wasn't your favorite sport as a kid, it wasn't the NFL. Why did you say college football?
Well, I wanted to be a professional bass fisherman.
Really?
Yeah, that was my first actual want, was to be a professional bass fisherman.
The Bassmaster Classic?
I'm trying to go. Yeah, I'm trying to rip lips. Let's go, baby. Get my frog jig on and let's go. That was what I was trying to do.
Isn't that on Lake Hartwell?
What's that?
Isn't it done on Lake Hartwell?
I don't know.
Okay,
they're all over the place. The whole tour. It's like 200 days out of the year. But yeah, I was super serious about it. Like I had all the reels. I had like a little can I'd put in the backyard, and I'd be trying to cast like everything in the can, because it's all about being able to put it in the right spot, right? Underhand, overhand, flip it behind the back, all these different types of cast. Got super into it. And so during the summers, like we'd be building fence, and we'd be along a river, and I'd be out there casting and trying to fish during like our lunch breaks and stuff that we got. So that was my first like actual like thing I wanted to go professional at.
You're the first person I've ever met that has told me they want to be a professional bass fisherman.
Yeah. I grew up in an untraditional setting that went into and got into, I feel like, the more traditional sports. I've been told, I'm very unique, one of one, which I don't mind, but it definitely gives me a different perspective, I think.
Yeah. So still, why football?
So yeah, going back to the football question. So I was going into energy management, like I wanted to get my business degree and use my education to get myself an opportunity. And I told you I was going into real estate. But the reason I used football, that was later on, I guess, in college. Let me back up a little bit. So my mom got a divorce like my junior year. She's single. She has my little brother and I, teacher salary. Her ex-husband didn't want anything to do with me, really just cared about my little brother because that was his kid. We have the same mom, different dads. And for me, it was, my mom can't afford college, but they gave me a scholarship. I think it was like $4,000 was my first scholarship. So D2, you don't get full rides. It's just you get money that's put towards your tuition and everything. And so they gave me $4,000, $2,000 a semester. That was the only scholarship that I had. And I knew I wanted to go get my degree. So there it was. There was my opportunity.
So you had to play football to get your degree.
Exactly. I got to go play football, and then I can continue to build on my education. So that's why football stayed in my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bet you wish you had the NIL then.
Well, I don't know how many NIL deals D2 players are getting. Which,
with your results, transfer portal. Now you're playing a D1.
Well, my app is gonna change all that. We'll get to that later.
Yes, we are.
Slight plug there.
Slight prelude.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I mean, because it's fascinating to me because most guys who play in the NFL dreamt about it, right? They grew up saying football,
mm-hmm.
and weren't bass fishermen doing barbed wire fences, riding two bulls and a steer.
Yeah,
that'd be a nice name of a TV show. 2 bulls and a steer with Austin Ekeler.
Sounds like the start of a joke or something.
As an entrepreneur, I know how meaningful it is to invest in the people and causes that are close to me. And on GoFundMe, it's easy, safe, and powerful to do just that. Whether you're supporting a family member, friend, local business, or charity. And whenever you make a donation, you're protected by the GoFundMe Giving Guarantee. Visit GoFundMe.com today to help make a positive difference in your community. Hey fitness fans, ready to crush your fitness goals? Make your move to EOS Fitness, where becoming a member starts at just $9.99 a month. Gyms are open 24/7 and packed with the latest gym equipment to keep your workouts fresh. What are you waiting for? Give them a call, drop by, or hit up jefffenster.com/EOS to join. EOS Fitness, better gym, better price. Now, let's get after those goals. But, and chose to go play football simply and solely to go get their degree in energy so they could do houses.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a very unique path to the NFL.
Yeah.
And when you finished college and didn't get drafted, you didn't give up though. You still then chose, I want to go play in the NFL because you believed you had an opportunity.
Yeah, not only did I believe, but I actually had some affirmations in that space. So when I finished my senior year, I actually had another great year, and I dominated in football during my my 4 years in Division II. And I remember a college scout for the Packers came and talked to us because he was like friends with one of our coaches. He's like, hey, come, give some light to the guys. And he's like, you're a Division II, you guys got to dominate if you want to get noticed here and you want to play in the NFL. Which you're a smaller school, not as much competition, so to speak. So you got to stand out. You got to be you got to be 10% better than them. It's not like you're going crazy. Well, I did go crazy. I was like 200 yards a game and 2 touchdowns a game.
No big deal.
For basically 4 years though. But that was what it was because I was so dedicated. Because I was like, I can increase my scholarship if I get All-American, if I get all conference, if I get these awards. And so I started at 4,000, so 2,000 each semester, and I got all the way up to 10 my senior year.
Each semester or total?
No, total. So 5,000 each semester. And I had some like other grants because my mom was single and really low income, and so like I had other grants. So I basically was on a full ride by my junior and senior year. And it was really important to me because I didn't want to have debt when I was done playing, and so I really committed to football and really committed to my studies and making sure that I got an internship, which I did. So in D2, you don't have to be around all summer. So after my junior year, that year I went and did an internship, was making $30 an hour, working for an oil and gas company, Noble Energy, and got a job offer. And this is after my coaches come to me and say, hey, you have NFL teams looking at you. And so I told Noble Energy, my recruiter, Cam Countryman was his name. And I was like, I want to be here because this is like my journey. This is where I'm trying to go. But I have this opportunity that I can't let go. Like I have to go try. And luckily he was a big OU fan and a big college football fan. And so he's like, yeah, I 100% would do the same thing. But just know, like, if you want to come back, you have my number. And so it was like a relief. Like, okay, I can go chase this dream. And that's exactly what I did. So after my senior year, I didn't go back to school. I went through the fall season, went to football, dominated again, then dropped out that last semester. I remember my advisor calling me and then asking some of my classmates, like, is he really trying to do this? Like, kind of just like, he's kind of crazy trying to go chase a dream. And I went and lived in Denver because I was up in the mountains in Western. It's up in the mountains, little mountain town. A lot of ski people up there, hunters, fishers. It was like what I grew up around. And so I go live down in Denver, and I lived in one of my buddy's house. He was back up in college. I was just me and his parents, and I would just go to the training facility in Denver, and then I would go home, and that was what I did. I just went back and forth every single day and really committed myself. I was like, I cannot let myself have an ounce of energy that I feel like I didn't put towards this, because I know this is such an altering opportunity to change my entire trajectory of my life that I can't let any type of doubt slip in that I should have done something else. Or I could have done something else to make this better. That's exactly what I did. And
what would be a typical day?
So wake up like 6:30. The place was like 30 minutes away, and I'm fighting Denver traffic. So it's not that far, but it takes a long time to get there. So we get there, and then we have like breakfast there. They have like, it's a whole engulfment of everything you need to be an athlete. Like Chris McCaffrey was there. So like we play the same position. I'm kind of like eyeballing like, okay, how do I, stack up against this guy? And I'm there. In the morning, we do this like little pre-stretch. We do the running workout. We do the lifting workout. Then there's like this recovery. So we're getting like red light therapy. You're getting massages. You're doing rollouts. And you're probably there for 4 hours. So you're there for a long time. Come back, eat lunch, all of that stuff. They had lunch at the facility too if you wanted it. I couldn't afford that one. So I'd go eat my own lunch back at Travis's parents' house. That's where I stayed. And then it would be like play some video games and then wake up and do it the next day. And it was just strictly like, let's train. And I'm asking the older guys, because there's guys that played for the Broncos. There's guys from other places that train at this place too. And so I'm asking them, and everyone's like telling me special teams. You got to get on special teams. Like if you're probably not going to get drafted. You're from a Division II. You're small. You're going to have to prove yourself in some way. One thing that did stick out, I was one of the strongest guys there. Like hands down, one of the strongest guys there. And that's going back, if we go back even to high school, that was another one of those things that I used to get away from, like the ranch life, was I'd go to the gym, and the gym became a part of who I am. It runs through my blood. I don't skip days. Like even this morning, I'm at the hotel gym. We're pumping iron and running miles, on the treadmills. Like that's just who I am. And it's another one of those little 2, 1, 2, 3, percenters that's continued to put me above people, where it's like I walked in, I got the nickname Pound for Pound when I got to the Chargers, because they're like, dang, like who is this kid? I remember there's a clip of me doing pull-ups. I think I'm like 165 pounds strapped when you put like the belt on with the chain. I had like 245, no, maybe 345s and a 25, and I'm doing pull-ups with this weight on. And in the background, this guy's like, oh shit, like damn. And I was like, to me, that was just normal. Like I was just strong because I had been building up for so long, and just spending so much time in the gym. But it was my dedication to just being in that space and taking advantage of the opportunity that I had at the time, which was football, but it was using the football for the means of something else. But then the football means became another opportunity that I had. And so it was really just applying myself and my attention and focus into the opportunity that I had that got me that 10% above everyone, that got scouts coming to watch me at practice, that got me into a training camp, and then so on and so forth.
So the draft happens. Day one, obviously, you didn't hear your name called. Day two, you don't hear your name called.
Yeah.
Did you have talks with your agent? Like, are any teams calling? Was it just dead silent the entire time?
Yeah, so for me, it was kind of laid out for me. So Cameron, my agent, who just passed, sucks.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know, it sucks. I'm proud of it, the way he lived his life, though. Like, what a stud. But he hits me up actually before my senior year, like, hey, I would love to represent you. And I'm like, whoa, like, I don't even know what's going on with this NFL stuff. It wasn't legal for him to represent me there, but he wanted to talk to me about after the season. I was like, let me call you after the season if you're still interested. So I call him after the season, and sure enough, he's still interested. He was the only agent that reached out to me. No other agent reached out to me. So it became a blessing in disguise further on, because I found out he was actually a business attorney, and so he would do all my attorney work for all my other endeavors as I started to get older. But at the time, he's like, look, man, you're at a Division II. Yes, you killed it all 4 years, like broke all the records, all the touchdowns, everything, all-purpose yards. But if they compare you to someone who went to a bigger school, they would probably use the 7th-round pick or a 6th-round pick on that person, and because they feel like they can pick you up in free agency. Mm-hmm. And he expressed to me that that's not a bad thing, because, yeah, if you're a 7th-round pick and you get a signing bonus for $50,000, that's great. That's a lot of money for you. Like, I haven't made $50,000 ever. I made $20,000, which is crazy for me during my internship. I was like, dang, I'm kind of rich, like as a college kid who's eating macaroni and tuna for lunch, and those little packets, like $50,000 would have been nice. But he's like, actually, you sign a 3-year deal if you're undrafted, so you can get to your second contract quicker than you could if you're a 7th-round pick, and you make your $50,000, which is great, but the second contract's what you're trying to get to. And so he kind of showed me kind of the light at the end of the tunnel of going the undrafted route, and kind of prepared me. That's like, hey, that's probably what's going to happen for you. Sure enough, don't hear my name called, but we had a priority list of, hey, this is where you want to go. This is next. But Green Bay was number one, because at the time, Green Bay had 0 running backs on the roster. They all were graduated or moved on or cut. And so they drafted 3 running backs that year. And after the 3rd one, Cam calls me. He's like, you're not going to Green Bay, cross it off the list, because they just drafted their running back room, basically.
Right.
But San Diego transitioning to LA was on the list for the next one, because new coaching staff, they had Melvin Gordon, and they had a bunch of younger backs. It was like, hey, you might have a better chance to go compete against a younger room. And so they called about halfway through the end of the draft and said, hey, if he doesn't get picked up, we'd love to sign him. And sure enough.
So that during the draft.
Yeah, so that's how it happens during the end of the draft, is for the priority free agents, right? Agents start getting called, hey, we take him, hey, you start negotiating, hey. So my signing bonus, right as soon as the draft ended, Cam's like, yep, we're signing it, boom, all right, congratulations, you're in your charge, we got $5,000 signing bonus, and just like this huge, I got my family around, right? It's like my little mini draft day party, we're going crazy. And so that was my experiences going undrafted. So even though it was, it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was like, dang, I wish I would have got drafted. I think it was unique, and it was still an accomplishment in a way for the journey that I took to get to that point, to actually get on a team and get signed.
And I love the lesson there, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs and people who are trying to become successful and whatever, they always look at the people who are ahead of them that have made it and figure out all the reasons why they don't have what those guys or girls have. I don't have those resources, or this, and these are the reasons why I'm not going to. And you had all those. And most people don't get to walk onto NFL football teams and then become as prolific as you have already become in the NFL.
Yeah.
But it's a testament to show that you focused on the little things that you can control. You found your edge in the areas you needed to by being the strongest, by working every ounce you had. And you said it, I was not going to have 1 ounce of regret.
Correct. Not one.
And it's amazing what doors get open if you just live by that ethos.
Yeah.
Because most human beings do never give 100%. They don't even know how.
And I get it too, because I can relate to that too, because even now being in the sports world for so long and getting more into the business world, like I see I'm so impatient. Because in sports, you go through the season, I go train, boom, we can go get a contract. Like I can see, like, okay, we have the first game coming up. And in the business world, and outside of sports, it's not like that, right? Things take time, right? People have to make decisions, right? You have to build yourself up. And there's no criteria to where you need to build yourself up to, because in football, there's a very strict criteria, right? Where it's like, hey, you're going to get compared to these other people. They're all going to be in the same spot. So it's going to be easy for you to find them and see yourself. Like I was training next to Christian McCaffrey. He was a first round pick. So I'm getting to size myself up. In the business world, you're a product of your environment, so you might be comparing yourself to someone who actually is way behind what the actual normal is. And so it's, where do you fit in? Where do you continue to build? And it's a blessing and a curse almost, because it allows you, if you do commit and you do start pushing yourself, you will stick up and you will be noticed and you will be different. But if you don't do that and you kind of stay around your group and maybe don't try to like really hone in on a certain expertise or be really good at one thing, then you might be stuck, and you might be comparing yourself. Well, I'm doing better than these people around me, or you think you are, but that might not make me out to a hill of beans outside of that.
Well, yeah, because in a sport like the NFL, you know your competition. In business world, you are your competition, and if you are not improving every day on who you were yesterday, because you're right, I don't know. I mean, you could be starting an acai bowl chain in your kitchen tomorrow, and I'll never know until you are out in the world.
Exactly.
And if I'm even competing with you, I don't even know if that's your intention. But if I compete with myself, and I keep beating myself every day, eventually I'm gonna get there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get to a level of success, which I think you did subconsciously with your journey to the NFL.
Right.
And my favorite thing, and I don't, ever since we met and started hanging out and talking, I don't know if I've ever told you, but my favorite thing about you is your passion for all the different avenues in entrepreneurship and business, that you are not just I'm a football guy and that's all I'm going to be.
Right.
You see the fact that, no, you look at the 360 degrees of your life and you want to dominate in all of them.
Yeah, I kind of characterize it as I want to build. Like I want to build, and I want to build in different directions. I want to build myself internally, my knowledge, my network, my exposure, my impact. Like I want to build. And what determines what way I build is where I feel like I have the most traction. And, like, why did I choose going back to football? Why did you choose football? Well, I had traction there. It wasn't a lot of traction, but it was a little bit, and it got me $4,000 to go help pay for school. It was some traction. And guess what? When I got in school, that was my opportunity. I built up, build. When I was I'm building myself on the athletics. I'm building myself on the education. Built more traction, got a job offer at Noble Energy, got an opportunity to go and potentially pursue football, built traction, right? Get into the NFL. It's the same thing. Okay, let's continue to build myself up. I got to continue to make sure I'm studying. When I got to training camp, I was the same mindset, but probably even more. I remember being so stressed out because I was putting so much pressure on myself to make sure that, again, I had no regret, but then also that I was noticed by the coaches. I was noticed that I'm doing the right thing, that you cannot ever challenge my effort. I remember I'm running down on scout team special teams wearing number 3, which at the time you couldn't even wear number 3. And I'm hauling ass. In my mind, I was like, I need to treat this like my life depends on this and no one can stop me. And I'm on punt team and I got to go make this play. And this is scout team. This is practice. This ain't even the game. And I remember there's no backups for scout teams. So you run and then you jog back. And then you go again for the second group, jog back. Then the first group's up. Then you go again. And I remember relentlessly sprinting. I wish we could get the film for him. And I am hauling ass. No one blocked me, not once on punt team. And so that was the mindset when it came in. And when it was punt block, you're not getting me. And then I remember distinctly, Coach Lynn comes in and watches one of our punt reps in scout team in the film room. And he asked Coach Stu, our special team coach, he didn't even know my name. He's like, "Hey, who's number 3?" And Coach Stu goes, "That's Ekeler, man. He's been giving us a hell of a look." And it was that 1-2% that I was sticking out, and that's what got me noticed, and it was that relentless. I would go up with Coach Stu. I'd be watching film, like, "Hey, Coach, like, let's watch these reps together. Like, what could I have done better here?" Like, I'm creating the relation. I'm trying to show you that I want to be the best and make an impact and be on this damn team. And that's just one example, but I treated all of my opportunities like that. I was sixth string running back. There's 0 6-string reps. I get 2-3 reps at practice. Where did my reps come? On scout team, special teams. All right, go do something. They're watching the other side, but I'm over here trying to stick out. And I remember when OTAs ended, I went to my running back coach and I said, "I'm gonna make this team. Like, I'm gonna make this team." And I remember Fredo, he kind of chuckled. He said, "Yeah, keep working, like just one of those, like he just probably caught off guard, like, okay." And then he's like, "Oh no!" Then I went to my head coach, Anthony Lynn, at the time, and I'm a rookie. He doesn't even know my name. I didn't find that out until I made the team. But I was so nervous. But it was one of those things where I'm like, I have to do this because I want him to know like how serious I am about this opportunity. I went in there, I was like, Coach, like, what do I got to do to make this team? And he told me, he's like, hey, you gotta protect the quarterback, who was Phillip Rivers at the time, protect the ball, and then get on special teams and go talk to Coach Stu. And so that's what I did. Went talk to Coach Stu. We had like a 2-hour talk. And I just continued to build those relationships and also apply myself in that space. And that was my little 1-2% that helped me continue. And it's stacking up wins. And it wasn't that I was trying to like be a brown noser. It was that I wanted to make sure when I walked out of that building and went over, and when it came time to training camp, that I was like, I'm ready to go. Like I'm ready to go.
Well, you wanted to control and do everything you could in every element.
100%. And
I know that to be authentically you because, and actually before we hit the business, I also want to congratulate you on the engagement.
Yes, I appreciate that.
Because in the 360 degrees of success in life, you are starting a brand new family.
Yes.
So, I met your fiancée. She's incredible.
Yes, she is.
You, no pun intended, outkicked your punt coverage.
Okay,
good job.
I appreciate it.
Good job.
Shout out to Mel.
Yes, shout out to her. But when we met, we actually met at VCon.
We did.
I was speaking at VCon. You were there speaking, and we met through a mutual friend.
Yeah.
And we were having dinner. And I remember you're in the NFL. You're in your prime in the NFL.
Yeah.
You could be focusing on all these different areas, and you're in this room of people who are in business, and you were a student. I mean, you asked 30 good questions to different humans all around. I just kept listening. We talked. You asked me questions. You asked this person, and it was about how do I become a sponge in this room. And I remember leaving there going, "This guy's going to kill it in business." Like honestly, and I say that because I've been around a lot of athletes.
Yeah.
That have business ventures, but they look at it as a means to make money, and they don't seem to put in, on average, what it's going to take to actually dominate in that field.
Yeah,
because they either don't understand it yet or they're not ready.
Right.
But you were clearly, you recognized the room you were in, and it seemed like you were putting that same level of detail and attention into how do I learn everything? How do I ask second, third, and fourth level questions?
Right.
How do I apply this to what I'm doing? Because it looked and appeared to me you didn't want to leave anything in the regret category.
I mean, 100%. It has become kind of who I am when I have an opportunity, or what I identify as an opportunity to me, like being in that room. Right, we're at a dinner, right, a networking dinner, and for me, this is an opportunity to be with people that are in industries or are further along in the business industry than I am. And going back to my roots, I was going into business. I wanted to be in business, and that was where I was originally going. And then football popped up and kind of gave me a bigger opportunity, but the business side of me still stays true. And so I've been in, like, I practiced, I trained, I went to school, and we would go to we do mock interviews, we do mock settings in the business world. So I was like, I was fully in on going and getting into the business space. And being in the business space, what I've learned is that you don't know as much as you think you do, and you're going to get burned a lot. And it's really important to keep people that have been down the road or further along the road or know something about your industry, keep them close and learn from them, because they can add so much value and they can help you avoid so many of these mistakes, which you see a lot of our athletes going through, because they're not in. A lot of our guys aren't trained in business, aren't trained to be in this space. They might have some expertise or wants, but then it tends to be the closest person to them that they feel like they can help is just the person they go with. And it's like, you got to continue to expand. Even if you think you continue to expand. You continue to read books. You continue to try to build yourself up so that you can really try to immerse yourself into it. And that's my approach anyway. I'm not saying that's right, but I really immerse myself. I tell my fiance, I'm like, I feel like I have almost like an obsessive personality where, like, when I get something, I'm like, yes, let's go. Like, let's get in there. Let me learn. Like, I'm working on YouTube videos. Like, I have like 120 units right now in real estate. And I remember before my first one, I'm living on YouTube real estate. I'm talking to people that have real estate. I'm talking to house flippers. Like, I'm learning the language so I can speak to them. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing that I've applied in everything that I've done. Back in football, I'm learning, I'm obsessed. I'm talking to the coaches. I'm learning the playbook. I'm staying over after. I'm staying late after. I remember I broke down crying one time because Coach Ridge was like, man, like, how you doing? I was like, bro, like, I'm not moving up the depth chart. Like I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm not getting any more reps. I'm not doing this. I'm stressed out of my mind, because I have this limited time. But it was just that's how I am, and I immersed myself in it. And I just didn't understand the structure of how it works. It's not that you're not getting noticed. It's that hey, we're paying these guys more, so they're going to get more reps because we want to make sure that hey, our money's in a good spot, and it's your job to show that hey, that maybe you can play. But going back to the point is I've applied that same thing over and over. So when I'm in that room, when I'm in this networking room, I'm around a lot of people that have done a lot of great things like yourself. I'm asking about you. I'm asking about Everbowl. I'm asking about how you've built yourself up. I'm asking about where you started. You started like in the payroll companies and all these things like that. I'm like, okay, that's awesome. Like, how do you transition to this? And I want to hear about your journey so I can maybe pull nuggets from it and continue to hear like kind of what got you to here. Were you connecting? Like, how was it your expertise? Did you have a good group that maybe I should know about? Like, there's a philosophy that maybe you can give out to me and I can learn more about it. And when you're on a continuous pursuit that's driven by curiosity and also when I say want to, I want to continue to make an impact. It leaves for a life that is definitely dedicated to continue to grow and to continue to try to expand yourself, which isn't for everybody.
But it could be. But it could be.
It could be. But sometimes I'm like, man, would life be easier if I was like just okay with like retiring? Like I got enough money and I can go hang out on the lake. It's like that seems real. If that gave me fulfillment, that seems really simple and easy. But it's like for whatever reason for me, and maybe it's just because of in my background and how I've continued to move forward. Like I have this obsession to keep growing and impacting people around me at the same time now.
Well, let me let you in on a little secret.
All right, give it to me.
If you had that personality trait, you wouldn't be in a position to retire on a lake.
Very true. Very true.
You would be average.
Very true.
And that's the difference.
Well said.
So
well said.
The thing that you sometimes regret having about yourself is the thing that gets you all the things that you have.
I call it a blessing and a curse.
There you go. A blessing and a curse. And it's true, right? I mean, those demons, sometimes they're good and sometimes they're bad.
Yep, for
and
sure.
It's hard.
Well said.
I experienced some of that in my own way. So I totally appreciate the sentiment. But the commitment to excellence, the commitment to remarkability, the fact that you realize, like, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And I want to do it with everything. I have that obsessive gene. I have that I want to learn. You were asking so many great questions that it is infectious, right? It makes those people want to help you because you've demonstrated that it's not wasted on you in football, in life, in business.
Right.
And that's where it's like, I mean, I've gotten to meet some of the team members as we went through Experience, which was the first venture I learned about. And I think it'd be awesome for the audience to learn what you're doing because I think it's disruptive. Yeah. I think it's awesome. And the fact that you're doing it now in the middle of your prime in the NFL, knowing that the NFL, it does stand for not for long. Yeah. No one knows when it's going to end.
Right.
Very few guys get to end on their terms. It could be an injury. It could be age. It could be team makes a different choice. I mean, things happen.
Right.
And it's a small amount of years to earn. Yes, you make a lot of money, but it's a small amount of years to earn a lot of money. And if you don't know how to use that money effectively, it doesn't last forever.
Right.
And then what are you going to do with your purpose, right? No one wants to be 35 going, what am I doing with my life? Yeah. So the fact that you're starting now is based on exactly who you've been and who you are.
Right.
And I think Experience, when you were telling me about it that night, and I got to sit down with your team and we kind of went through the pivots and transitions.
Right.
I mean, this thing could be huge.
I
hate to say it, but you might be more known for this or your other business we're going to talk about in 30 years, and people go, you also play in the NFL?
Yeah.
Despite your success in the NFL.
Well, I think that's the goal long term. And I'm known when you hear Austin Ekeler, you're probably thinking fantasy football or sports betting or Chargers. Yeah, like that's one of the three categories that I'm really.
But yeah, carry on. If you know.
Yeah. Hey, there's some inside jokes being told. Hey, maybe you know something else. I don't know. We'll talk about that one after.
Yes.
Off air. But really, I think for me, like I think internally, like what do I want to, like what is the legacy that Austin wants to leave? And really it comes down to impacting people and continuing to have a place where I left a mark that helped people help themselves. And it really started with my foundation. And just real quick, like my foundation, I originally wanted to do a mentorship. And then I was advised by some people that I had been around, like if you do a mentorship, you can lead someone as far as you think you can lead them, but then they're going to hit a wall of their capabilities. That they have to expand their capabilities first and have to be wanting and willing to do that for you to actually be able to mentor someone to the point where you think, hey, you're giving them all the resources where they're actually taking advantage of that. And I was like, okay, it's the whole, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And they're their own person, so that rightfully so. They should be able to pick and choose, and they're going to have their capabilities. They're going to have to go through their own learnings. And so I took that personally, and I was like, okay, how can I make an impact? And what really impacted me, and it came down to resources. And one that really stays true to me is the weight room, where I was like, let me renovate these weight rooms that are just dumps, just terrible condition, really old. Because what the weight room was for me was an opportunity to go in there, push myself mentally, physically, learn social skills, work as a team, all of these transferable skills that can go out into my life and are who I am today. And so that's kind of been what I've noticed. I've been really involved in that type of concept for all of my different endeavors. And experience, what you're referring to, is basically we're gonna redefine what fan engagement means. Is what we're doing with this. If you think of fan engagement nowadays, maybe you think of fan mail that gets sent into the locker room, or you think of like a meet and greet, or you think of like Cameo, Patreon, like these things like that. All of these are strictly set up, and then the athletes have to go and actually like do them, and like have to put a lot of time in to make them work. And being an athlete, I know I don't want to do that. Athletes we're not trying to spend a lot of time setting up our own meet and greet so you can meet us, things like that. And so what we're doing with Experience is basically putting on a white glove service, where I have a account manager that would, let's use the Chargers for instance, would represent the Chargers players. And if you want to get your jersey signed, you send it in through Experience. I take it to Austin Ekeler. Hey, you have these 7 jerseys that you need to sign, right? We get a little video of it, send it back to the person. If you want to, hey, tell me interesting facts. Hey, maybe it's spring ball, right? There's not a lot of football going on. Hey, I put on a personalized video for Austin. Ask Austin about an interesting fact about himself. Like, you can get to know him. Ask Austin about his favorite football memory. And I'm doing, as the account manager, I'm doing this for the Chargers, right? So I'm continuing to give opportunities to meet, to ask different types of questions, maybe set up some meet and greets, get things signed. We have 9 different types of engagements, because not all players want to do all types. Some players I don't want to talk to you, but I'll sign your jersey for $150. Things like that. And they're not going to go set that up. So what we're doing is we are putting on a silver platter. All you have to do is click a couple buttons as an athlete and fulfill these types of engagements. We set it up for you. Fans can then come in and also actually get these engagements and make them sincere. So that's what we're doing. And we're focusing on teams right now. So we're going to onboard full teams at a time and put this service for them so that we can help them monetize their name, but then also create genuine interactions for the fans as well.
I mean, and what I love about it, having been that kid,
yeah,
standing in line, getting autographs.
Oh yeah,
that whole experience attempt. Sending the fan mail when I was a kid. There was a book I could buy and send it to all the. I got a personalized Bill Cowher.
You got
picture.
One back?
Yeah, Bill Cowher sent it to me.
Okay, you got one back.
It's on my wall. To Jeff. Something Bill Cowher.
Most of it goes unreturned.
He might not have signed it. Somebody did.
Yeah, well,
but I think it was him.
Yeah,
thank you, Bill.
That's all that matters.
But that is the next. To your point, the athletes don't want to do it.
No,
the fans love it.
Yep.
And
let me cut you off there. It's not that the athletes don't want to do it. It's just that it's such an inconvenience to do it.
And I'm being honest when I say they don't. No celebrity wants to be a celebrity all the time.
Correct.
They work hard at their craft.
Correct.
They're a football player, baseball player, but whatever they are, an actor, an actress. That's their craft.
Right.
The other stuff comes with it.
Yes.
And they understand the value in it, and they want to connect with human beings,
Correct.
but not every day, all day, all the time.
100%.
And you don't get to turn off your celebrityness.
I'm giving them a switch to turn it on, make it efficient and safe for them. Perfect example. Well, 2 examples. You can go into my locker. I have collected all of my fan mail over the past 3 years. I have a big dumpster bag full of it. I'm like, one day I'm going to go through all this stuff. And the same thing for all my other guys that are around me. It's like, okay, everyone's got fan mail. Like, people want to engage with us. And I was like, guys, if I paid you to do that, would you do that? I'm like, yeah. They're like, yeah, we'd do it. I'm like, okay, well, that's a concept that I think we could get done. And then going to training camp. If you go to training camp, it is wild. There's like 5,000, 6,000 people here, and they're all screaming after practice, Austin, Herbert, Keenan, come sign my stuff. Everyone wants a jersey. Everyone's got balls. Everyone's got hats. Everyone's got this and that. And that's unique because that's the time where we can actually do that. But what about the people that are in Florida? What about the people that are over here? What about the people that can't make it to training camp? Sure. They don't want their stuff signed? Well, they actually do, or they want an interaction at some point. And it makes a difference. It makes such a big difference, too, those little interactions. For example, I had in Experience 1.0, after we pivot to doing the full teams, I did a video chat, and I don't know who these people are when I get on a video chat with them. And so I get on, they give me a little bit about themselves, like, hey, we're active service duty. I'm like, okay. And so I get on, and they're stationed in Iraq, and they're in a bunker, and they're like, hey, we're getting bombed out here by drones. So if something happens, like, just know we got to go. I'm like, whoa, like this got real serious. But we did a 15-minute call, and we're talking about morale, we're talking about camaraderie, we're talking about teamwork. And after that call, they actually sent in a ticket, and they're like, man, that really boosted us here. Like we feel so energized this week, and we appreciate you doing that, and we're looking forward to the game that's coming up. And it was 15 minutes of my day that boosted their entire week, and maybe probably more than that. And it's like the smallest portion of my life that I would have never had that interaction with that person or had gotten that opportunity if it weren't for Experience, because they can't set up a call with me. They can't do that. There's nothing to do that. There's no interaction out there. I'm not doing that on my own. And so Experience does it for me, and then I just go execute it.
And it touches you the same. I mean, look how passionate and excited you are about it.
That was so cool that they sent that in. And they sent me. So what really made it cool is that they sent in a flag. They were on the back of this Chinook helicopter, the one with like the two blades, and they were flying this flag behind it. And they sent me that flag, and they all signed it and sent it in. Cool. Oh, it's so cool. Even there's a thing that we have on there called social media engagement. And I'll have like moms that'll be like, hey, can you reply to my son's DM he sent you? And it's like $20 for me to go and reply to this DM, and it takes me 2 seconds to go reply. And hey, what's up, buddy? I hope you're having a good Pee-wee football game and crushing it. And then they'll send it into like, hey, like you really loved it. They'll put it in the reviews and everything. So it makes a difference. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, it's not really accessible. It's not easy, and it's not tailored to the type of guy that you're actually going to. Me, I'll do a lot of them. But I know guys that they don't want to talk to anybody, but I can absolutely bring them something. They would sign it. Your account manager can set something up. They'll do a personalized video for you. And it's not just like a happy birthday, but like let's make this stuff interesting. Like happy birthdays are great, but like tell me about your journey in the NFL. Like real substance questions that are strategically actually marketed for these people. That's another thing we do. We can get to the business later on, but we handle marketing, we handle the strategic planning of it, we handle the pricing, we handle the fulfillment, and all we ask is from the athletes, like, hey, just know that when you get pinged on your phone, like, just know those are people trying to interact with you. And so they have to go on there and like accept their profile. We set up the profile for them and everything. So we're making it as seamless as we can for the athlete, because in even Experience 1.0, I did 400 engagements in the course of 5 months. And so I was like, okay, people want to do this stuff, but now I'm the owner of it. So I know I'll do it, but now can I set other people up to do it as well? And that's been our pivot. And
so as much as you can share, where do you see Experience landing?
So right now there's a huge frenzy, and there's a lot of just unstructured rules and unstructured ways that college is trying to use NIL, name, image, and likeness for their individuals. And the beauty about the college is you might be a freshman that comes in, and just because you play for Texas, for some other random school, they automatically are fans of you. And you already come into an alumni base that is supporting the school in some type of way, whether it's funds, whether it's just them being in the part of the school. And so I can be a freshman, come in, and it could be, hey, alumni meet and greets. And now these alumni can come and spend 5 minutes talking to me. Hey, what's up, man? My name's John. I'm a big donor. I'll be at practice. Come say hi to me. And then boom, you get paid. We can set those up where it's like, hey, that's actually going to be $150, and I'm a rookie, or I'm a freshman coming in. I'm meeting donors because they want to give back to me. They want to use my name, image, and likeness to meet people, to actually make a meaningful connection. And then you can have the fans like, hey, meet our rookies, right? Or meet our freshmen. Come put those on. Now, hey, you're putting out promotions for the rest of the college. Hey, come meet our freshmen, and then so on and so forth. So college is a space that needs structure. They need this type of structure where it's an entire platform, because if you look at the brand deals, NIL, your top guys might get brand deals for the car dealerships or for that. But what about the guys that are second string linemen?
Sure.
The alumni care about them. The fans care about them. But me paying this guy $50K to go and do a commercial, that ain't gonna happen. So that person ain't gonna get it. What about the non-rev sports? What about the polo team that has alumni that would love to support them, get to meet the new people? Send a good luck. Hey, good luck today in the game. He can send you a message that we can talk, and I made $5. I'm messaging with somebody right there, quick, easy.
And thinking back to you as a freshman,
oh yeah,
you needed that money.
Think about 100%. Like I told you, I was eating macaroni and tuna.
Yes, you need that.
I'm still paying for my school, especially at the Division II level. We didn't get full rides. So for me, it was that like even 10, 20, 30, 40 bucks makes a difference. I mean, we can generate a lot more through what we have going on and actually putting, marketing behind it and actually really making an efficient funnel for it. But 100%, that even that little bit would have gone a long way back then. And so that's where we're different. Where we're different is you have like some other platforms that are kind of out there, but they just set it up. They just set it up and expect, let's say you're an athlete. I set up a video chat. You got to use it yourself. Yep. You have to promote yourself on Instagram. You might even have a following. You got to put your times on there. You got to put your titles. You got to do your marketing. You're a college kid. You don't know anything about any of that stuff. Even in the NFL, you're not trying to do any of that stuff. Even we're talking NFL, I'm talking NASCAR, I'm talking UFC, I'm talking, soccer, golf, like every single industry that has a team and a fan base, that's who we're targeting, starting with college.
And do you see it pivoting away from sports into other areas at some point?
It could, because if you get into like the actors, it's just the thing is it's tough. You might have to go to the agency route. It's like, hey, this is an actor agency, because they're not like a team built around them, but it might be, I guess, a show. You could do it for a show, I guess, sure. You could do it in the influencer space, but I've really just been focusing on teams because that's where my expertise is dealing with athletes. Yeah. And I know what they want and what they don't like. That's where I can reside, and that's where I've been making the most impact.
So obviously the players and the experience, I mean, it's I love where it's going. Mm-hmm. I love the team you're building. I love what you're doing. Mm-hmm. I see so many use cases, pro sports, college sports, and beyond. And I think as you continue to expand, you're going to find new areas and avenues that you're already probably thinking about, but haven't yet figured out exactly how to tailor it to. Right. But in that journey, you found a whole nother opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to, we were just talking about this right before we went on air about the ability to highlight what guys and girls in professional sports are doing off the field.
Right.
The side of them that we don't get visibility to as fans, as, oh, I love the Chargers. Mm-hmm. I don't know what Austin's doing right now.
Right.
Other than the Jeff Fenster show.
And it might not matter to you, but there's a lot of cool things that you might not know about that you actually might be interested in that a lot of these athletes are actually doing. And you're talking about Pro Athlete Ventures. And so Pro Athlete Ventures is a project that I've started. Actually, it stemmed from me doing foundation work up in San Francisco, and I was looking into foundations to partner with in San Francisco. And I found Christian McCaffrey's 22andU. He's got a foundation. I don't know if you know that, but
I actually didn't.
So yeah, things like that, where it's like, okay, what does 22andU stand for? Well, that would be the content that you see on our content that we're pushing out. We tell you all about it, tell you how to find out more, tell you to come back to our profile or our website if you want to go and get involved and how you can get involved. But so I'm partnering with Christian. I'm like, okay, we need one more partner for this weight room that we're going to renovate. And NFL players with foundations, nothing. With crickets. I don't know who. And I'm looking at individuals. I got to look at individuals. All right, does Jason Kittle, does Purdy have one? No. Okay, so I'm trying to find. I'm like, why is there not like a place where it has all of the guys' foundations? Like that seems like it would make sense for us to have. If we have a lot of guys with foundations, which we actually do, as we've been looking now. So I'm like, all right, it doesn't exist. I'm gonna go build it. I'm gonna build this thing where it's a simple website where it just has the foundations on there. And as I start looking into individuals, I'm looking through link trees and all this stuff. I'm like, dang, all these like Alvin Kamara's got a cereal. Like, Russell Wilson has a business, sales class. I'm like, what? Like all these things that are like, these are actually kind of crazy. Like me, like I have a Discord. We do like poker nights and bingo nights and trivia nights on Fridays. And people are like, what? You do that? I'm like, yeah, we do giveaways and like you can win a Jonathan Taylor signed, poster and you can put up on your wall and jerseys and stuff. And I was like, we do so many different marketable things, but we're terrible at marketing. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to expand the foundations, and I'm going to actually bring in all of the things that are actually like interesting and actually actively ongoing. And we're going to build a profile out for the players and for the teams. So you could go to the Chargers and be like, okay, I can see Austin's got, all his Discord. He's got experience. He's got his foundation. I can go to Justin Herbert. He's got his golfing line. He's got his foundation as well. I can go to Keenan. You can go to this team. Okay, I'm a fan of the 49ers. Like, Christian's got this got this. And these are things that you can get involved in or you can learn about. And then on the content side, we'll be pushing content to continue to help educate people about these things. And you might not care about Austin Ekeler, but you really might be involved in weights and education in the health sector. And you hear about my foundation, how we're rebuilding weight rooms. And now you might have a new respect for me, which is me bringing value to the rest of our guys that we don't necessarily have right now. And so that is my mission with Pro Athlete Ventures, is to continue to expose our NFL players right now, and show the world that, hey, these guys are, yes, amazing football players, but also just amazing men, and they're doing amazing things in the community to help and uplift themselves and the other people around them. And here's how to get involved. Yeah.
I mean, I love it, and I loved hearing about it because it's also something you're doing with your fiance.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And that's super cool because you guys are able to do that together.
Yes.
And use this, again, what you've made a career doing, seeing an opportunity on what you have in front of you and turning it and amplifying it into something bigger and better for yourself, your life, and everyone around you.
Yep.
And you said something a little bit ago when you said, what do you want Austin Ekeler's legacy to be? Can you tell me one more time? Because I don't want to butcher it. It was so good.
I mean, I don't know what I said exactly word for word, but I want to make sure that I'm implementing resources into the world that help empower others.
That's what you said. You want to help people get better.
Yes.
Be a better version of themselves.
Correct.
And by being the example in what you do every day, you're giving everyone around you the permission to do that. And I think is PFA pro?
PAV.
PAV,
yeah.
I was trying to quickly do initials in my head.
PAV.
PAV.
Pave. We say pave.
Pave.
It's like, hey, we're paving the way.
All right, paving the way.
There
but
we go.
through that, you're also doing the same thing in every community.
Yeah.
And you're also bringing the athlete community together because for some of the guys in the NFL, we'll just use the NFL, who maybe aren't where you are thinking about post-football, or so only focused on what they're doing right now, this might open their eyes to the fact that they have the ability to have huge impact.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the foundations that you guys put on, they actually move the needle.
Yeah. No, they're making.
I mean, the Breeze Dream Foundation is awesome.
Yeah, we'll get to Drew. We'll get to the former players.
Yeah, I know.
Right now,
I know. But I'm saying just as somebody who's been to a bunch of them. Yeah, I'm older than you, so a lot of them are retired now. But they've made so much impact in their communities that your foundation, changing weight rooms and improving them, and giving young kids and any age human access to the tools necessary to better their health.
Right.
Which is the foundation, right? A strong you, a healthy you allows you to be a better you. Maybe a kid who wants to make it to the NFL but doesn't have the tools and the resources gets to now have access to that gym and be the next Austin Ekeler.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like that kind of an impact. There's a guy on your team right now in the Chargers organization who maybe was thinking about it but doesn't really know and doesn't have the self-confidence yet to do it, and then he's going to see this.
Exactly.
It's content.
That's a great way. Yeah, I've been really thinking about it to the public, but turning it back to the actual NFL players. Like, oh, there's a lot of guys that are doing some great things, and it's going to encourage society because there's such a huge, including the football players that maybe are getting started, because it's such a huge impact that football has on life. Right? You think of all the hype around the sports betting and things like that, but it all comes back to football. Like football. And so these guys have made such leaps and bounds with their impact that they're making and the cultural changes that they can make and that we can make. And it's so important, I think, to highlight those things. And it doesn't get highlighted. It only gets highlighted in that little corner, right? Drew Brees, he's gonna have to market that thing like crazy himself. Yeah, maybe he has some things that he could, but who's helping him? Like let someone. I feel like there's an entity that should be helping our guys as a collective amplify our voices.
I think there is.
Off the field. And so
it's called PAVE.
It's called PAVE.
Check it out.
It's called PAVE.
Yes.
So that's what we're trying to do. Now putting just highlight the heart behind these guys, because it's in football too, but it's also in making our place, our world, a better place to live. And I think this is the last thing I'll say on it, but really the football side is so, amplified, which is great. And it's awesome, but it just overshadows the other side of us as human. And so when you only talk football, which is why we're relevant in the first place, which is it's totally appropriate. But then you become this like item, you become this symbol, you become this relatable thing. But when I tell you that, hey, this person's also trying to help fight hunger over here, it's like, whoa, like I just got a whole new respect for this individual, or whatever they're trying to do, or if they're trying to build something, or it's not always just like charity things like, Travis Kelce has a huge party get together out in Missouri, every year. And so it's like things like that. So there's some fun, there's charitable, there's podcasts, there's all these things that we're bringing light to that are making an impact in some way in the world.
So before we get into rapid fire, my last question I have to know.
Okay. I feel like this is rapid fire.
No, it's not rapid fire. You can answer as long as you want.
Okay.
20 years from today.
Ooh.
Okay. You look back. Can't say football.
Yeah.
Can't say the two amazing businesses that you're building.
Okay.
What do you want people to remember you for outside of business and football? Just Austin Ekeler, the human being.
20 years from now, the human being, Austin Ekeler. Well, I hope those are two predominant things. But then if there was an underlining concept, I think it would. I hope it would be a place that it's an enabler is not the right word. Maybe empower. Like I really want to be known, and not just I don't want to be known, but I want to do the things that reflect on this as me as a person that would be able to do this for people. So I want people to feel like because of Austin Ekeler, I was able to do X, Y, Z. Like because of the resources and my efforts that I was doing, because it's selfish, but then also selfless at the same time, because I'm trying to build myself with these same tools as high as I can possibly go, but then use those same tools to allow other people to also build themselves. And so I can't put like an exact.
No, I think you just articulated it so well, and I'm actually excited that was the avenue you took, because not everyone has to live in their own story. And you are, because of your journey, you are an underdog story that does enable people to say, I can too. Shaquille O'Neal, I can look at him do whatever. I can't do anything that man does, right? He's a completely different kind of human being. He's got gifts I'll never have. So I can't duplicate it.
Right.
And so one of my things I always say on stage is I'm an ordinary guy who figures out what extra stuff to do to get extraordinary results. And I think that you are another example of that at a much higher platform, right? Because of what you do and how you do it. And so the fact that you're realizing that and leaning into it, you are going to and continue to change and impact lives, even the ones you're never going to hear about. And so as a fan of you, a friend of yours, and someone who admires what you're doing, I'm very excited that that's kind of on the forefront, because you can make and will make that impact. And you're going to change the world in a lot of cool ways. Because I know if I was a kid and I was looking at you, I'd be like, because when I was a kid, I wanted to play in the NFL. That was my dream. Yeah. And we're about the same damn size.
We
so
are.
You are the example. I could,
exactly.
Maybe if I had worked harder, who knows? Or I wasn't born with something, but regardless, you broke a ceiling that I had set in my head, my excuses. Right. And so you give that permission for people and kids out there to go, you know what? I can grow up and go to a Division II school and not be highly recruited, not get drafted, and still be the star running back, probably taking 1 or 2 in fantasy drafts most years. And you are that example.
100%. And then I always give this because I didn't hit that wall where I got rejected and I didn't make it to the NFL. Like I made it. And so one thing that even on I used to do a bunch of Twitch streams and people we'd have the same conversation. Like I want to go to the NFL. I'm like, here's what I would tell you to focus on. And it is 100% you can dedicate yourself to trying to go and make the NFL and trying to get there. But realize it's not the want to go get to the NFL that's actually going to get you there. It's how you take the day-to-day, how you take the process of going and getting there that will get you in there. It's not, I just want it. You can want it really bad, but are you doing the things that actually stand you out, that 2-3% in your, I hate this one where it's like, oh, my coach didn't like me. Like, that's bullshit. Like, it's not that your coach didn't like you. Well, maybe he had a personal thing. But
your coach wants to keep his job. He's going to put the best players out there.
It's like, you can't take this victim mindset, and you got to make sure that regardless if you make it or not, you know that like I in my story was trying to avoid that. You have no regret of going for it, and you put every ounce of energy, and it wasn't something that you didn't do that caused you to fail, right? That's what my training coach used to tell me. He's like, don't let it be something that you did not do to cause you to fail. Like, make sure you check the boxes and look for more boxes to check, and then maybe do check one extra bowl to keep checking them. Because if you do that, you make it, great. If you don't make it, you can hang your hat on, you know what, I gave it everything I possibly could. And not only that, the lessons you learn by applying yourself like that, like you've done, you can take that and apply it to something else, and you'll find an avenue. And just even having that type of ambition and having that type of discipline and that type of mentality to continue to go and grind and apply yourself, you will continue to separate yourself. It might not be in the sports world, which is really, really hard to get in, and it's really kind of unique because it's like a small window. But there are so many other ways that you can make an impact on your life and find fulfillment, because that's what you're looking for. Why do you really want that? Because you feel like it's going to give you fulfillment. There are several other avenues to go and find that fulfillment, and that you can put that same want into play and then use the process to go and try and get it. So don't be discouraged if you don't make it. Be discouraged if you regret things that you didn't do that you should have done.
Very well said.
Appreciate that.
Are you ready for some rapid fire?
Let's get some rapid fire.
All right, 30 seconds or less.
Yes. All right, 30 seconds or less. That's going to be hard for me, but we got it.
That's
all
right.
right.
If you can go back to high school, what's one piece of advice you would give yourself?
Ooh, one piece of advice in high school: keep going. It's going to be better for you. Just keep going. It was tough. It's tough now, but these lessons that you have right now are going to make you into the man that you wish you were going to be. So keep going.
What's your go-to pregame ritual to get into the zone?
Pre-game ritual. When I was young and on special teams and was running for my life, in my mind, it was blasting rock music into my ears. And as I started to play offense, I actually had to stop doing that because I found myself, I had to calm down because I have to think now and actually understand the plays and a little bit more. And so special teams, I was running reckless. Offense had to be a little bit more structured.
And off the field, what's your favorite way to unwind during the season?
Favorite way to unwind?
During the season.
During the season. Love talking to my team around the business side. That's like my little community that I built. But then individually, I love playing the guitar. So I've been getting into that a little bit and getting the calluses going. I've been playing for like 2 years now, here and there, but really been picking it up this off season.
Well, Austin, I mean, I could just keep rapping with you all day. I, mean,
I know, man.
I love all these stories.
You know,
this has been awesome. And I think for the audience who's listening, a lot of them know you as the football player. And I hope that they really appreciate the lessons that you're sharing and how you're dominating now in business, where you're going, the total person you are, your foundation, experience, pave.
Yep, there
pave
it is.
in the way. The family man. We're looking forward to seeing.
I'm a builder.
The next
family
version.
falls into that category as well. Build the family up.
And I hope everyone kind of takes this as like exactly what I got, which is, I mean, like I said, you're an example. Mm-hmm. Not everyone who sits in this chair with me are examples. They have a ton of success. They've done it in a way. The correlations are different, but you really are focusing on how do I control what I can control, do to the best of my ability every single day, check every box, leave no stone unturned, and the results are going to take care of themselves. And everyone, regardless of what gifts you have or don't have, everybody can do that tomorrow.
Everyone.
It's free. There's no education requirement.
Correct.
Anyone can say, I'm going to give everything I got to this.
100%. You couldn't have said it any better. That was well said. And that was a rapid fire for you. That was great.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you got to maybe start your own podcast.
Hey, you never know. Never know.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
But
I can see it in the future.
For those watching, obviously social media is easy. They can go to the different things. But how would you recommend that they start to get involved with either Experience or Pave?
Yeah, Pave, by the time we're releasing this, should be out. So Pro Athlete Ventures on Instagram, TikTok, anywhere. It'll be everywhere. Shorts, YouTube. You check out some of our stories that we have if you want to learn. If you haven't seen them already, hopefully you've already started to see some of them. And then I post everything that I have going on Instagram if you want to get in some of these giveaways that I'm doing on Fridays. If you think you're good at bingo, I mean, you probably won't beat me in bingo because I'm an expert bingo player. You play bingo? Have you ever played bingo?
I have played bingo. I wouldn't say I'm an expert bingo player.
It's actually an adrenaline rush. So
it's not luck?
It's completely lucky, but they don't need to know that. You can come try to beat me in bingo.
I got you in poker.
Yeah, we got poker. It's all free too. So this is all community building stuff. I love building communities and keeping people around that really want to continue to love, build, and just be around a good type of people. That's the environment we're building with X Games. So follow me on Instagram, Austin Ekeler, if you want to check out any of my stuff going on.
And last thing, how can they get involved in your foundation?
Yes, so ekelerfoundation.com is live, and you can check out all of our projects that we've done. We talked about weight rooms here. We've put washers and dryers in schools. We've done football equipment. We are resources. We put physical things that individuals can use to help themselves. So if you want to be a part of any of those, ekelerfoundation.com. You can check out our projects and how to get involved.
If you got value today, please go to ekelerfoundation.com. Contribute $1, $5, $100, $1,000, whatever you can.
Makes a difference.
It all makes a difference. You can help Austin and be part of the team to make an impact. And thank you so much, Austin, for coming on, man. This was awesome.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
It was great.
Hey, everyone. First, I want to thank all of you for tuning in. And if you guys haven't heard about my new book, Relationship Bank Account, click the link in the show notes or search the title on Amazon. This book is packed with all my secrets to success in both relationships and life. Make sure to pick up a copy, and if the book helps you on your journey, let us know by leaving a review.
I appreciate all of you and can't wait to see you on the next one.